What's it then? What is happening? Good afternoon. I'm so used to saying good morning. Good afternoon, everybody. To Math 143. The first section, section 1, has the later start time. Not confusing at all. Whoa, I was unmuting someone, but she does not want to be unmuted. Okay. All right. First item of business, because this is our very first session of the year, I need to just check if everyone can see and hear me from everywhere. We are streaming through Discord, YouTube, and D2L. There might be people in each of those platforms. Discord is ideal. YouTube is my second choice, but some people only know D2L, so I want to start there as well, at least for the first little bit. So wherever you are, can you please let me know
I
that
can
it
hear you
sounds
from
good?
Discord.
Perfect. I have confirmation from many in Discord. Thank you. D2L looks good for now. I don't know if anyone is watching YouTube. Last time in my calculus course, there were some die-hard YouTube watchers, and nothing I said could change their mind. They were going to watch it in YouTube. So if that happens, it's totally fine. I prefer Discord. The whole point of Discord, if you don't know it, is we can voice chat, and the others, it's not that easy. I don't think it's actually possible in YouTube either. So if you want to learn something new, maybe Discord is awesome. And my goal is to simulate the face-to-face classroom as closely as possible. So being able to communicate, voice communication is a key part of that. Another issue that I want to say right off the bat is it's not that I dislike D2L, but it has been known to cause a lot of lag issues when I'm streaming and trying to write on my screen. D2L has, for some reason, given a lot of problems. If that happens again, I have to turn it off. or it's just not. I just can't. It's not workable. The lag is so bad, and I know it's D2L because as soon as I turn it off, everything's fine. Unfortunately. So if you are currently in D2L, please do me a favor and try the other two. YouTube, Discord, used by millions of people because they are so user friendly. Just give it a chance because I cannot guarantee we'll be in D2L every time, unfortunately. The lag causes such an issue between when I'm writing and when I'm seeing it. It's just not even. I just can't work around it. It's too much, unfortunately. Okay, so please be aware of that. I can't respond to private messages in Discord right now, just so you know. Hopefully, everyone had time from the emails that I sent to do what they need to do. There's no login for us in Discord, so you have to send me a private message. I then give you permission, which is sort of our security. Otherwise, anyone can just pop in here. Anyone that gets the link control us, and we don't want any of that. All right. So let me just log out on this website because this was for the calculus discussion. So we have our own course website. There is some information on D2L. That is where it's going to stop. I have my own course website that is device friendly, big screen, little screen. It's always going to look good. And I have full control over it. We have to, the link is in the email. The link is on D2L. Everyone should know the link by now. You go to our course, Math 143, and then we have our own little login screen. Now, I don't know what your login is. I know your student number, but I don't know what password you want. So let's suppose my student number is 123456. I would then put that in. And your temporary password is a capital A and that same number. Now, what we're doing today is just familiarizing yourself with uh, the basics of the course. What does the course website look like? What is expected of you? Different elements to the course, and so on. If you've taken Math 142 before, things will be very familiar. I apologize for boring you. Not exactly the same, but very familiar. If you haven't, totally fine, and that is really why I'm doing it. So there's no confusion about what is expected from you, what is expected from me during this semester. So of course this isn't a very secure password, right? So I'm expecting you to change it, but when you do, either way, you click on submit, and then you will see a breakdown of your grade as we systematically do stuff. Right now, everything's pending, you haven't done anything. But this will always be up to date to show where are you at, how am I doing, is my average okay, all those things. It's good to have feedback on that. Our course information, that's my name. We don't have an office anymore. I do have an email, which is very important. We have a link to our YouTube channel. Our playlist is clearly named Math 143 Winter 2021. You can look at other playlists and videos, but I don't expect you to. Everything you need will be in that playlist. Right now it'll be empty. We haven't done anything yet. We have the link to our Discord server. If you haven't already, check the rules. Most of you have, I know. But if you're listening from somewhere else and you want to get into the Discord fun, check the rules. It tells you how to start. And the most important thing after that is our class schedule. Our class schedule. Very important. I need to look at this all the time to know what is coming up, when, and where. So let's have a look at that. So you see there are different blocks, different colors. The pink is sort of a special session, introduction. We're not going to talk about math at all today. I want to take a whole session to just make sure all the technical issues are settled and we know what is expected from both sides, from me and from you for this course and to succeed. Our normal lectures will be these light blue blocks. Light blue, what is that? It's almost green, but it's not. And it tells us what topics we'll discuss in those as we go. Red blocks, sometimes during a session or in place of a session, sometimes at other times, will be general Q&A sessions like office hours. You can drop in, ask a question, chat, but there's no requirement that you do. It's there for you to use as you need to. If you have questions, if you want to talk about something about the course, those red blocks are the times where I'm going to sit here and wait for people. And if no one shows up, I'm going to be very sad. But you don't have to if you don't have any questions. Use it as you need to, as you use it. Right? Then sometimes we have a yellow block. That is where I'm not going to have a live session. There will be a video that you can watch in your own time at your own pace. Because sometimes listening to something live, you don't have the option to always pause, take a break, think about something, and then come back to it. It's nice to sometimes do something at your own pace. So now and then we'll have these yellow blocks, which just means there's already a video in the playlist, appropriately named. You work through that on that day in your own time. Okay? So those are the different types of blocks of sessions we have. So always look at the schedule and see, oh, what's coming up on Thursday? Oh, okay. It's just the Q&A session. I don't have any questions, so I'm going to skip that. Or, oh, I do have a question. That's where I can ask it. Okay. So our pacing is pretty slow, especially in the beginning. You see these red blocks. Well, not reading break, but yeah, that's forced break. You see these red blocks are scattered throughout, especially in the beginning. I want to ease into the semester. So we'll take a break on Thursday and just catch up and see how do we feel. And then we'll take 2 more breaks next week just to give us time to ease into things, especially in the first weeks. So always look at the schedule, just like I will. What's happening again? Oh, okay. Very important. The other important thing is if you have any questions, use whatever format you want, but talk about it. Ask for help, however small or big it is. Send me an email. Come chat in the Q&A session or anything in between. But get the help when you need it. Don't wait. We have a lot of platforms. Discord is nice. Chat in our channel. General Math 143 is there for you. Type, oh, does anyone have struggle with this problem? Is it just me? Well, chances are it's not just you. Have a little support group. Lots of options. Don't be isolated and struggle with the material. That's the last thing I want. I already talked about the Discord rules. Just giving you a guide for how to get things started with permissions and stuff. But if you're not sure, let me know. It's okay. So I will try and present everything through Discord, YouTube, and D2L, but realistically, D2L is going to go pretty fast. It doesn't want to work with us lag-wise, unfortunately, very often. But I'll try. I'll try. Just don't be married to D2L. Discord, YouTube, proven, efficient, and user friendly. I say that here as well. All right, so then we have the calendar description. Who reads those things? I don't. Let's move on. Some prerequisites. All kinds of things you'll be able to do. They mean nothing. I will learn them when I get to them. There's no need to foreshadow all these things. We'll get to them systematically in a way that makes sense. No need to get ahead of ourselves. Course material. We have a book. It's a PDF. It's free. Let's open it. It's all fancy. Not really. I tried. Go. We have some uh, topics, table of contents. You see it on the right here as well. It comes in 4 parts. Part 1, 2, 3, and 4. To make things nice and piecewise. The book is there for you to use. We'll often use the book because if I scroll to something later on, let's say, every chapter, section, or a mix of them will have different things in them. Let's go to chapter 6. Now, don't freak out or anything about what is in here. Actually, I'm going to open the PDF. It's a little nicer to navigate. That's not the PDF. Go away. That's a different course. Let's stay on this one. Okay, so there's some stuff here. Here's a good one. So you'll see that in as you look at the book, you'll see exercises. Those are the examples that we are going to talk about in our sessions. There are no answers to them in the book. To get the answers to them, you have to attend the session or watch the video or both. That is the only place it's going to be discussed. Those are the first things we'll do. After some basic concepts I'll introduce, the exercises are the main way to get on top of these concepts. That is what we're going to discuss in the sessions. I have them in the book. We read through them together. We write our answers and discuss the topics in that way. Then at the end of the chapter, see there's multiple exercises here. At the end of the chapter, we have problems. Those are for you to build on from the exercises. You've done the exercises, you understand them, you've mastered them, you want to see some variety. The problems are there for you to work through. Do all of them, do some of them. It is up to you. I don't know how many you need, but these should be sufficient. I was going to say something. What was I going to say right now? I don't know. Well, I had a thought and it just disappeared. Oh man. Anyway, so our book is there. I'll show the book on screen often during our sessions because I need it for the exercises, right? To save time. As you do the problems, here are some answers that I've written out just by hand for you to check. Don't use these answers as a learning tool, just sort of a verification that your answer matches. If your answer doesn't match, you have to check with me so that we can talk about it. There's not a lot of detail in these answers. You can't necessarily learn a topic from them. I think that's a terrible idea. If something doesn't match up between your answer and mine, let's talk about it and figure it out. Is it a typo on my end? Is it a typo on your end? Or is there some fundamental understanding issue we need to address? Okay. So use the problem answers in the appropriate way. I actually don't want them here. I don't want the answers because people look at them too fast. before they uh, have really worked and thought about a problem, worked through it, worked on it, have an answer, then go to the problems. People rush to them too fast. But it's there. Use them responsibly. Normally, we do prescribe a calculator, but of course, you can use whatever calculator you want. A basic scientific calculator will be perfectly fine. I use a free app. There are many free apps. Scientific calculator, one that you can see the calculation and go back and edit it. Those are nice. Not the default calculator on your phone. Those are terrible. All right. Let's go to tests first because that's why you came, right? What am I expected to do here? What to get a good grade? What do I need to do? You're going to have to take some tests. I know it's a big surprise. Big surprise. There are different kinds of tests. One is the written test. Some call it a midterm, but a midterm, it's a scary word. I don't like that word. It scares me. So we'll call it a quiz. Not scary at all. Not scary at all. Now we'll get to the instructions in a second. Let's just look at the schedule here. There will be a quiz for each part of the course on these dates. It is done in the session block. You see, quiz 1 is going to happen on Tuesday the 26th at your time block, which is 2:30, instead of the normal lecture session. That's what you do. You write a quiz. The quiz is sort of designed to be roughly an hour long. So how does this work? At the start, so for us it'll be 2:30. I will send the PDF paper to you. I will email it and I will put a link in our Math 143 Discord channel. Right? I think that's sufficient. I will not put it on D2L. It's not necessary. Everyone can use email. I hope everyone will use Discord. You decide, do you want to print out that PDF and write your answers on it? There will be space provided. Or do you just want to look at it on the screen because you don't have a printer and write your answers on another piece of paper? I don't care. It's all good as long as you clearly number and clearly write your answers. Doesn't matter to me. Don't go and buy a printer and then complain, oh, he made me buy a printer for this course. So unfair. People do that. People do that. And then it's my fault, apparently. I don't know. I don't get it. The test is open book. Open Google, open YouTube, open whatever is not a person. But it's difficult to sort of learn a topic on the fly. You kind of have to know what's going on before going into the test. There isn't a lot of time otherwise. Time is designed for you to know already. It's actually designed to be a closed book test, but times have changed. So you have 90 minutes to get the test answers back to me. Before that time is up, you have to scan and email it to me as a single PDF file. There are many ways to do this. Many ways. Free scanning apps, paid scanning apps. You can take pictures and put it in Word and Office and save it as a PDF. Maybe you have a scanner. So many options. So many. Figure out what works for you before the test even comes close. Test it. See what works, see what doesn't work. Practice. If you send it to me in any format that I can read, I'll still grade it. But if you don't send it as a single PDF, I am not going to return it to you. How do I return it? At the top here, when you've done quiz 1, for example, there will be a link next to it. where you can view your graded quiz. If it was sent as a single PDF, you'll see your graded test. If it was not, let's suppose you just took pictures with your phone and sent that to me, perfectly fine. I'll grade it, but I'm not giving it back to you because that was not the instruction. Anything other than a PDF slows me down immensely. And it is a very big hassle to go and find different photos that you took. And I probably will miss something. It's just not ideal. That is the agreement. You do your part, I do my part. Easy. You have 90 minutes in total. The test is for an hour, and then you have 30 minutes to do the scanning and the sending. That is generous. That should not, if you've practiced how you're going to do it, that should not take that long. So know how long it's going to take you. Know what time you need to give yourself and use all the other time for the test. But if you are late, there is a penalty. And the time I use to decide that is here. The submission time is the email received time stamp that I get in Gmail. If, for example, you have an hour and a half, right? We start at 2:30, so you have until 4. If I receive the email 4:01, that is late. That is late. And you lose 10% per 10 minutes that is late, rounded up. So if you submit it 4:01, that's 10%. There is no excuse. I have to be fair because many people try their very best and submit it on time. But then other people just say, whatever, I'll be a couple minutes late. You get a benefit from doing that, and it is not fair. Okay, so these things are there to keep everything fair. And if you don't understand the rounding, what I mean, then ask me. How do we feel about the written test, instructions, or everything else that we've said so far? It's very quiet. I don't like it when it's quiet. That means I might my audio might have cut out. I don't know.
It sounds really clear to me.
Okay, I've tried to make things as clear and fair as
Sounds
possible.
good. It's doing good.
All right. Yeah, I'm very insecure. I need constant validation. You're doing a good job. Keep going. We can hear you. Everything's going well. If not, if just to verify technically things are still working. Okay, so as fun as a written test, I mean, you love midterms, right? Oh, it's not a midterm, sorry, it's a quiz. You love quizzes. Everyone loves quizzes. Who doesn't love a quiz? No one, exactly. But what's even more fun is an oral test. I know, I know. Your silence says everything. Yeah. Where you have to chat with me, video call. I want to see your face. And I'll say why in a second. It's going to be fun. I ask you short concept questions. These questions will not require you to write anything. They will not require you to do any calculation, calculator, nothing. Concept questions. And as we do our sessions, I'll try and remember and give you examples of this is a good oral test question. Basic, basic concept questions. You know it or you don't. And the reason why I require a video call is last semester I didn't. It was just audio, and unfortunately people cheated. I could hear their pages going, trying to look for the answer. That's not fair. Then I have to make the questions way more difficult. A concept question that you read off proves nothing. So I now need to see your face to verify that it is you answering the question. So each question, short question, I give you 30 seconds, you answer, we move on. 5 minutes. Easy. I don't care how you want to do it. We can do it in Discord. That's going to be the easiest. We can FaceTime, WhatsApp, Zoom, anything. I don't care. There is no excuse. Everyone has a phone, some sort of camera. Easy to do. Now, when do we do these things? During all the red sessions, all the Q&A sessions. I know reading breaks red as well. It shouldn't be red. See, there's a session. There's a block, 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 block. Many blocks, so many blocks. First come, first serve, any red Q&A block. Okay. You want to do it early, you want to do it late, I don't care. You pop in, because those sessions I'm here on Discord anyway, right? You pop in, say, hey, can I do my oral test? Sure, let's do it. 5 minutes later, you're done. Or if you have some other app you want to use, then we'll have to coordinate a little bit more. It starts in March. So from March 1st, is March 1st day we have a session? Oh yeah, you could do it in that 10:30 session. That's the earliest one, March 1st. Because I can't really test you on, I need to have some stuff covered so that I have questions to even ask you, right? We can't do it next week. We haven't done anything pretty much. So the opportunity to take the oral test is only starting in March. And it has to be done before the final exam day. So your last opportunity is the block on April, I guess April 16th, the last block. Yeah. But now think about this. You don't want to make this more difficult than it needs to be, right? Or maybe you do. In general, you don't. I can only ask you about topics that we've discussed. If you, for example, do it early in March, I can only really ask you about half the material from the semester because we haven't done the second half yet. Whereas if you take it on April 16th, for example, or that last week, now I can ask you about anything that whole semester. So you are going to have an easier oral test the earlier you do it. It's up to you, though. If you like the challenge, of course, do it late. Totally up to you. But there are so many red blocks. There is no excuse. And last semester, many people didn't do their oral test. Many people. That you're throwing away a good number of percentage points for your grade. Doesn't have to be 100% test, right? Then we also have a final exam. Of course we do. Why wouldn't we? And that is cumulative, covers everything. That is scheduled at a time no one will know until a little later. The college will decide, but it will be during the exam period. Okay, what makes up your grade? That's what we want to know. Assignments. We have not talked about assignments. Actually, let's just finish the rest. We'll get back to assignments in a second. Quizzes, 10% each. 4 of them. 1 for each part. Oral test, 10% each. No, there's only one. 10%. Some assignments I'll talk about in a second. And then the final exam. At least we get it down to 40%. It's not ideal, but it's a lot. But it is what it is. I want to make the oral test bigger, but apparently that's an issue. So we're stuck with a 40% final exam. But by then, you'll know it's not going to be as scary as it might seem right now. Ask people who did 142. Was it scary, the final exam? I don't think so. I think it was
Not at all. I think
extremely.
the quizzes really prepared it for us with the same layout and everything, so it made it less daunting.
Yeah, it was very predictable. Some would say too predictable. And people did too well, and now I'm in trouble. Because if too many people get good grades, then it must be too easy. No, it's just predictable, which is not a bad thing. So a 40% seems scary, but it's not. For this course, no, I think it's okay. All right, portfolio assignment. Why is it called a portfolio assignment? I have no idea. Because an old version of the course used this term, so I still use it out of habit. All we're doing is trying to take we're doing 2 things. We're trying to take some pressure off the final exam, get that down to at least 40. And thinking about our career goals, it's nice to sort of keep an eye on that, have some focus on that. So, what we're going to do is have some elementary school worksheets. Let me show you one. There's the first one. Worksheets that are used in elementary school from grades 1 to 7. Of course, it varies. Loosely corresponding to what we're going to discuss in the sessions. Here we're going to talk about patterns and sequences of numbers and shapes. Well, that's sort of our first topic. Of course, these worksheets are simpler for the most part, simpler than what we might see in a test, of course, right? Because this is the basic bottom level of what you need to be able to do as an effective teacher. You need to know a little more so that you have the flexibility to come at these explanations and these worksheet problems from a variety of angles to help little Timmy understand it in a way that works for him. So you need to have a higher understanding of the topic. So these worksheets serve as sort of an entry point. Uh, do I have a basic proficiency that I can build on? The answer has to be yes. There is no ifs or buts. I used to make these complete pass fail, but then I felt bad. So now it's graded as well. I'm not returning them. They're basic. No one should have any mistake in these worksheets at all. There's just no excuse. You should not uh, be making mistakes in these worksheets if you're going to be a teacher. That's just a fact. You are welcome to do these in any order. They're only loosely based on the topics. Some topics, like geometry, it's very close. The names of shapes will be the names of shapes and things like that. Some are a little bit more difficult to find worksheets that are obviously representative, but for the most part, you can do. You can wait until we've discussed part one and then do your first worksheet, or you can do them all tomorrow. It's totally up to you. Let's see here. Same standard idea here. If you have a printer and you want to print it, great, but you don't have to. Write it on a separate piece of paper. It's all good. Single PDF for my stress levels to stay down because I have a lot of grading this semester. Single PDF makes the turnaround much easier. Open book assignment. If you need to look up something for your worksheet, totally fine. If you need to chat about it with anyone, totally fine. I don't care. Just submit your own answers, of course. It could look exactly like your friends. I will not notice, and if I notice, I won't care. It's always more fun to talk about these things, so feel free. You can talk about them with me as well. Doesn't matter. It should not be a challenge. It's just to keep an eye on our goal ultimately, right? You can then so let me say this first. I don't think I've written it here. These worksheets should be answered as your ideal student should answer them, not as the teacher would answer them. There's no extra explanations you need or anything. You're the perfect student of that grade. How do you answer these worksheets? That's the level of detail you need to show. All right, what else is here? Deadlines for this. Deadlines. Midnight of these dates. So all on a Sunday, so it's easy to remember. Midnight of that Sunday, I have to have the email received. I mean, there's no excuse for these. You have so much time to do them. Same scanning procedure, same emailing procedure, single PDF, ideally just to make my life simpler. Now, something I didn't say that applies to the test, the written tests as well, and the final exam, anything you have to submit, is so many people last semester in all the courses. You have your scanning app. Let's say it's some free scanning app. I've used Genius Scan, for example, but it's free. And depending on the file size of my scanned document, the email might not go through. And I won't know that. So people scan and they just hope and pray to the scanning gods that their email will get to me. That's not a very wise thing to do. Email it to yourself first, maybe. Or when you send your email to me, CC yourself on the email so you know it went through. Lots of things. Do the scanning early. Lots of things. Double check. Have these little extra safety measures in place. Because if I don't receive it, or I receive it a day later, let's say I receive it Monday afternoon, that's too late. You're going to get zero. I have to be fair to everyone, to those that made the effort and submitted it on time. Fair to them, right? So practice these scanning things. Whatever system, maybe you have a system that worked in the past. Many of you do, I know. But there were many that were just a few minutes late here and there. And, you know, I have to unfortunately penalize you, and it's a lot. It's a lot. Or let's suppose your scanner broke. You have a scanner. You trust that scanner. It's your friend. You're ready to scan your assignment or your test, and it doesn't want to. What do? You don't send me an email saying, oh, my scanner broke. Can I have it in late? No, the answer will always be no. You take pictures, send me the pictures as a backup. I want a single PDF, sure, but if you can only send me pictures, do that. Send it to me in the time. The format is secondary to getting it in on time. I can't take any excuses. It's just not fair. What else is there? There's not much else. Of course, standard line. Sorry, this standard line. Don't make any travel plans before we know when the final exam is. Duh. There are no makeup tests ever. Don't even ask. The answer will always be no. But there are valid reasons for missing a test. According to college, what's the standard line? Um, Accident, illness, or family affliction or something. Those are valid reasons. If you're actually sick or you have a family member in distress or something, those are valid reasons. Totally fine. I'll give you an excuse, and the rest of the material that you submit will be used to calculate your grade. But I'm not going to reschedule your test. Make up a brand new test that is hopefully the exact same difficulty as the one, uh, and then you have to study for that while we're moving on. It's just bad idea all around. It's it's a terrible idea. But I'm happy to give you an excuse if the reason is valid. But if the reason is not valid, well then, there's only one outcome, right? Oh, this is what I wanted to say. Scroll up, buddy. You can do it. See, D2L is already making hiccups. The portfolio assignment worksheets. Very important line, just in case. Just in case. Those worksheets are an elementary school level. They are not representative of a quiz or an exam question. The quiz and exam questions will be more difficult. What are they going to look like? They are going to look like our in-class examples called exercises in the book and the problems. That will be a gauge for what to expect. Those that have done 142, hopefully you can verify that it does work like that. To the point where if you have mastered, not just done, mastered all the exercises and problems, I can't think of any surprise question in a quiz. It's just not going to happen. That would be unfair. That's my responsibility too. I need to prepare you for those tests. I'm not going to suddenly throw you a curveball. That's not what we want to do. There's a little blurb here about academic integrity that everyone should know. Don't cheat unless you're allowed to work together, which in some cases you may be. Now, if you haven't realized this yet, there's a specific way to do math, study math versus other subjects. Doesn't always work the same. Follow what we are saying. I will not waste your time. Everything that is important will be in a video. And for the most part, if it's not in the video, it wasn't that important. I will not waste your time. Maybe take notes. I don't know how many people take notes from videos. That's an interesting question. I would, but people are different. Just writing stuff down makes a big difference. Even if you just copy something that is on the screen, big difference. I cannot, for math, oof, I would always do that. But people are different. Look at the book if you want to. The book isn't going to say something different or extra necessarily. Uh, but sometimes if I go through something maybe a little fast for you, the book gives you the opportunity to read it more carefully and work through it, right? It's not that I replace the book or the book replaces me. It's just complementary. They complement each other depending on your needs. Master the exercises first. For so many years now, it's a recurring thing that I cannot get everyone to stop. People tend to watch the video, whether it's a live session or after the fact, doesn't matter. They go through the video, they have an idea of what's going on, and they go to the problems. They run through those problems, thinking, oh, I only need to do the problems and I'll be good. This is not a calculus class. It doesn't work like that. Calculus volume matters. The more you can do, the better off you'll be. This is not like that. We need to think about things first. We need to master these exercises and what they're trying to illustrate, and then build off of those into the problems. Don't rush to the problems and then, surprise, surprise, you don't know what to do. Of course not. You didn't build things up correctly. It's not a surprise to me at all. Take my advice. It works in a sequential way. Don't miss a step. Or you're just doing more damage. You're just taking longer in the end. It's not efficient. Of course, if you have any questions, you need to address them. We have so many red Q&A sessions. It's when I look at the schedule, it's too much. Look at it. It's so many. It's red. I just see red everywhere. Okay, there's a patch of blue there. It's just look at all the red. It's too much. There is no excuse for not getting help when you need it. You can't think in any math class. People tend to think, oh well, I don't understand this, but it'll go away. It'll fix itself next week. It will not. I guarantee you, it will not. You need to take the initiative, say something, chat with a friend, uh, post something in our general Math 143 chat. Is anyone else struggling with this problem? Do you have any suggestions? Send me an email. Voice chat in Q&A sessions. So many options. There is no excuse for not staying on top of everything. And then the bonus is if you do, the oral test is going to be a breeze. I'm not going to ask you trick questions. Be a breeze. So you sort of have a 2-for-1 there. Yeah, the in-class examples, exercises, and problems will definitely steer you in the right direction, and there will be no surprises in the test. I, of course, assume that you attend every session, whether that is watching the video after the fact, doing it live, you have watched all of it. If you need to rewatch it, do that, but I assume you didn't skip anything. Everything is important. And if it's not, I will specifically say, don't worry about this, which is very rare. If you want more information about how to study for math, you still haven't quite figured it out, people at UVic wrote a very nice document. I don't know if I showed this in 142. It's something that every time I read this, I think to myself, I cannot say this any better. There's a way to learn math that doesn't work for other subjects. It just doesn't. Not that we want to be special, it's just proven to be effective strategies. Responsible for your learning, yeah, okay. Study goals. Get out a pencil. Get out a pencil. Courtney said it right here. Lots of notes. Even if you copy something, you think, oh, this is a waste of time. I'm copying what I see. Something happens and it is so effective. I don't know what it is. It works. Always understand before you memorize. If you understand, the memorization happens where you need it. You don't even have to think about it. Get help right away. Be aware of all the resources, all those things that when you read them, they're obvious, but people still neglect it. That's me the end. That's the end of my ramblings. Any questions or uncertainties or anything at all before we start tomorrow? And again, we're going to start really slow. We'll make some shapes, fill in some patterns. But maybe someone struggles with topic one, and that's okay. Maybe someone finds part one to be super easy, but part two, ooh, that's a little tricky. Everyone's different. I don't know where your sticky points will be unless you tell me, and then we can fix it. And you look back and say, ah, super easy. Just takes time. Any last words or thoughts, or we depart for today and go our separate virtual ways? Thoughts? Stunned silence.
Hey, I was just curious. Do we book our oral tests on our own with you?
Uh, unless you have some reason you cannot get any of these red blocks ever. No, it's just simpler. I found from last semester, simpler if you just drop in, first come, first serve, and say, can we do it now?
Oh, okay, perfect. That's perfect with
Otherwise,
me.
I make an appointment, people cancel, and it's just a mess.
Yeah, you make it easy, especially with weekends.
Yeah, I haven't had any issues with the drop-in format. Those that wanted to do it found a time to do it. I think those that didn't do it did so by choice. But they didn't
Okay.
say anything ever. There's so many red blocks. I didn't look at the schedule until now really. So I just see red.
Awesome. Sweet. Thank
But
you.
all right. Any other questions? So yeah, I know the oral test. Oh, so nervous, so scary. But if you've done it in 142, was it scary? Was it
No,
really?
not at all.
No, of course, the unknown is scary, of course. But looking back, no, the questions were all super basic, right? Now, we are going to be a little bit more strict this time, just to try and be fair. I'm giving you 30 seconds to answer. And I want to see your face to avoid cheating
Like,
as
how
much as
how
you
do you
can.
know when you're ready for the oral?
That really is the issue. How do you know when you're ready for the quiz?
Okay.
You
So
never
you
really know, right?
so you just have to
Um,
do one on one
I'll
section?
make you a deal. I'll make you a deal. I did that last semester too. Here's the deal. So we're going to ask between 5 and 10 questions. If I ask you the first two questions, and for whatever reason it doesn't go well, you're too nervous, you're not prepared, whatever the reason, we can pause and you can have a do over later
Okay, sweet.
because you don't know what to expect. I understand. The first two questions should give you a fairly good idea, and usually people settle down after the two questions, nerve wise, and so on. So if the first two questions don't go well, I'll say, you know, I can tell this isn't going so well. Do you want, now that you have an idea, do you want to go and review things maybe a little bit and then come back and do it at another time? And that's more reason to do it early so that you have time to reschedule. I think that works. I can tell if you're just nervous or if you actually aren't prepared. I'll know. And then you can have a little do over. Why not? Because I don't want it to be, I want to accurately gauge your knowledge and understanding. So if there are some nerves initially, then that's okay. Any other thoughts? If you have thoughts, that's okay. Send me an email, send me a message. ask me tomorrow. We're going to have such a slow start. Nice and easy. But that doesn't mean we should skip anything. Just makes it easier to stay on top of everything. All right. That's 5 minutes over. I need to stop. I will see everyone tomorrow. I guess I won't see you, but virtually I'll see you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.